peach orchard back here. And you can imagine they claimed that the day of the battle that peaches were in full bloom, peach trees. That big monument back down there on the left as you pass on the right said Johnston. General Johnston is wounded in this field, rallying his men. They carry him down there, and he died down there under a tree down there. So that's Johnston's memorial. On this farm, there's a little road that takes you down to a log house. This was one of those yeoman farms. And this was a stock pond that has forever in the battle history been known as the Bloody Pond. When I was a kid, it would come here on the weekends of the battle, they would dye the pond red. Because that day, the wounded would crawl to this pond to wash their wounds. Many men died right here at this pond, both sides. So it's a very troubling thought because the carnage, the literal carnage that's going on here. So all of this is taking place on Sunday. The Confederacy started, throughout the war, started 3 battles on Sunday and lost all 3 of them. So it came down from Richmond, no more battles on Sunday. The Lord is not happy. I'm not sure he's too happy with it anyway. But you can imagine the carnage that left here. So the last thing we're going to do about going out of here is we're going to take you down by an open new road by the Indian Mounds. Long before this was here and long before there were farms here, there were Native Americans living on the river. And this is a huge Native American archaeological site down there. For years, the river had flooded so many times that it was eroding the bank, and they closed that road. So now you can go down there and just make your loop back up around by the cemetery. So when we get back to the museum, some of you may want to go to the bookstore, you may want to go to the cemetery. All of the people buried in the cemetery are Union soldiers and are people who have been buried since then. It is a national military cemetery. So American veterans can be buried there. Following the battle, the Confederacy retreated to Corinth and carried approximately 800 wounded with them. Many of those men would die from their wounds, and within 3 days back in Corinth, diseases broke out. And of course, many of these men died from gangrene and blood poisoning because of the lack of medical treatment. And we were talking about this. The first MASH hospital, Mobile Army Hospital, was in this battle. It was the Indian Hospital. There when they made that movie, mighty man. Now, a couple of quick things that will be done to get it out here. On the last sheet of paper you have in that handout, there's something very telling there. Look at the very bottom. All previous American wars, total battle losses were 23,273. That's American Revolution, War of 1812, and the Mexican War. Total dead and wounded at Shiloh, 23,741 in 2 days. That's more men killed and wounded in 2 days than were killed and wounded in those three wars. This is devastating. Nobody could ever think about it or even dream the carnage would be this bad. Notice what above there, a New Orleans newspaper editor wrote after the loss of Shiloh, the South could never smile again like Shiloh. Horrible. We were talking in the car coming over. Had the South won Shiloh, had the battle occurred on Friday or Saturday, Buell would have arrived too late. The army would have probably been driven into the river. And Grant, you'd probably never had a President Grant. Okay? But the way circumstances work out, Grant goes on to become the commander of the Union Army, President of the United States. But another interesting thing out of this is, had the South won this one and then Gettysburg, it would have been over. Because by winning Gettysburg, they would have marched into Washington, D.C. pretty much unopposed. So from here, from Shiloh, Grant sends gunboats to Florence. The next day, on a Tuesday after the Battle of Shiloh, Federal gunboats arrive in Florence, 3 of them. The whole Tennessee River is now open for Union invasion. And you've heard about, seen these things where people thought, well, they'll never get this far. Well, look at that, look above that one, that paragraph. The loss of Shiloh spelled the eventual loss of Tennessee, Mississippi, and the Tennessee Valley of North Alabama. These areas were called the Confederate Heartland. When they lost Tennessee and northern Mississippi and North Alabama, they lost the center of food production, grain. The city of Florence changed hands 44 times in the war. 44 times. Hard to believe. So, anyone have a question real quick? Or a comment? That Sunday morning, the place of peace became a place of unbelievable conflict. There's a book in the bookstore called Seeing the Elephant. And the old saying goes, I've been to the circus. In other words, I've seen great things and I've even seen an elephant. Well, seeing the elephant became symbolic of the monster called the war. They could hear it, it would roar, the smoke, the fire, but they were afraid. Many men ran off. There's a great book that you may have read in high school called The Red Badge of Courage. It's a novel. And it's about the Battle of Chancellorsville, but it could have been about any battle where this young man runs off and then gets the courage to go back. Can you imagine? What would you do at 19, 20 years old in this? You know, it's amazing. And we were talking about how you even got these two armies how did commanders get their armies to do anything with this all going on? There's a complete loss of control. You don't even know where your unit is. They may be over there and you're over here. So it's just unreal what's going on here. So if you get a chance sometime to come back, I recommend you watch the video. It's about a 45-minute movie. It's real good. Gives you an overall picture of the battle. And then maybe sometime you can take your time and go from site to site. So any questions real quick? Because we're heading back by the mounds. Those of you who want to stop at the mounds do. The rest of us are heading back to the museum. Okay.